Hello and welcome to today's podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Jolly Jarvis, and today we are talking about what to do when you're not getting the volume of inquiries that you are wanting. And before that, there has been, I need to say, there has been a little change to the schedule of what I was going to talk about this week, which was selling off your own merits, which I'm going to do next week. And the reason for this change about was because there seems to be a theme to this week that I keep talking to people about, and it is around inquiries. It's around people finding that they're not getting the number of inquiries they would like. Now, there's a number of reasons for that we're going to go into in this, the reasons and also what you might want to look at, what you might want to do about it. But before that, I'm going to do a super quick update for you on what's been happening at Selling Without Sleaze HQ. This week we have been working even more on the funnel, as you can imagine, and that is going to be an ongoing thing. These things need tweaking, they need changing, they need optimizing. Things are always changing, and so there'll always be alterations to be made there. We're starting to get some more data back on the information on the upsells and the number of people taking upsells, etc. And this funnel is performing so much better. The revenue we generated from this funnel is already more than what we were getting from the original one. The key thing is the quality of leads. And the quality of experience as well that comes off the back end, and so that is all stuff that we are still working on. We have more videoing to do this week, which I'm very excited to have found a really nice venue to do that at, so that's another exciting sort of development there. We've also been working on providing a mastermind environment. I'm currently working on the functionality. I feel like I'm kind of twisting and stretching Slack as far as it'll go, to give us the functionality that we are looking for, so that I have people all in one area. At the moment, it's really unfortunate that people end up all here, there and everywhere, contacting on different channels. As much as I've tried to keep to Google Chats, if you don't have a Google email, you can't use Google Chats, which obviously is a limitation. Some people do not have Google emails, and so that is therefore a problem. They can't use that system, which is obviously too much of a drawback from our point of view. So between sort of new videos, and we're also doing our quarterly planning on Wednesday. We've done the management planning for the year, but due to the major push, which was getting the funnel out at the end of last year, we actually haven't, there's an irony there, which I totally appreciate, having helped over 30 businesses to plan their 2022, we are yet to do ours. However, the changes with the funnel, we needed to see how they bedded in before we started deciding on what we were going to focus on Q1. If it still needed further work and there was sort of alterations we wanted to make, then it made sense to have that as a project. And so we needed to sort of sit it out and wait and see, rather than sort of hurry, create a plan, and then that to change pretty much straight away. That's the explanation behind that one. It's not an excuse, it's a genuine explanation. So as far as what to do if you're not getting those inquiries, now we're going to split it into basically like two camps here. Have you had inquiries and they've dried up? Or have you never experienced the volume of inquiries that you've wanted to? And when I say, you haven't, I'm meaning sort of like in the last 6 months. Is it the fact that towards Christmas, things sort of tailed off and they still haven't picked up yet? Or is it the fact that actually you've not been getting that volume, you haven't experienced the volume that you want to help you grow the business in the way that you want it to? And so obviously taking both scenarios, it comes down to similar stuff. It's looking at what's changed. If it's the fact that that you were getting the inquiries and now you're not, or it's looking at what's missing in order to get those inquiries and start getting the volume that you're looking for. And it comes down to the same things, which are, it's around looking at what you're posting, where you're posting it, if you're doing organic. If you're not doing organic, then what's happening with your paid advertising? What's happening that's making those inquiries come in slower? Is it having less impact? Is your budget has been affected by iOS 14? And all those changes there. what is it that has changed? What has changed for your ideal customer? And that's the other thing is I encourage people to look internally first. And then once you've looked internally and you thought, you know what, no, I'm consistently posting. I'm in the same place as I used to be. I'm spending the same amount or I'm spending more. It's just not happening. These inquiries aren't coming through. Then I would be, questioning, and particularly with the organic side of things, have you still been growing your audience? Talking to a couple of clients even today, I've had a mantra of a day back to back with client conversations, and those sorts of conversations were around, well, have you actually done anything recently to add more fish to the pond, as I call it? So if you are fishing, you're putting that information out there, you're putting that post out there, and you get people nibbling, okay, just like fish on a fishing rod. So hence the metaphor. And so have you added more fish into that pond, or are you have you already taken the low-hanging fruit, the ones which are more easily attracted by your messaging, the ones which will wait, which had to get to know, like, trust you before they were willing to buy from you? Have they been used up? Have they nibbled on the bait that you've given them and then gone on to book a call with you, or made an inquiry off their own back, or whatever methods you are using? But have you replenished them? Because if you haven't, then you've taken that stock, you've removed those people from that pool of opportunity, and you haven't replaced them with new people. And so that's where also I would be sense checking. How easy are you making it to inquire is also another query that I would ask yourself. How easy are you making it? Are you putting calls to action? Have you got a clear route to getting in touch with you? Are those routes working? I had somebody who contacted me this week because there was an issue with one of the buttons on my website. The rest were fine, but one of them had gone a bit wonky. And the Calendly link it was pointing to, it was no longer working. And so in that scenario, if that person's tested that one, I was fortunate that person emailed me. But if they hadn't have emailed me, would I have known? No. How often are you checking these things? Do you have any idea of the touch points that you need to be checking in order to make sure that you are making the most and that you're making it as easy as possible for people to inquire? If it's, a certain source seems to have dried up, then I would be looking then towards your ideal customer and what is happening with that customer. What has happened to result in them not contacting you as regularly, no longer getting in contact in the volume that they were. What is going on? And I was talking to a client today and relating it back to when lockdown first happened. And you can always argue, oh, well, people are busy right now, people are this, people are that, people are worried about the market, people aren't sure. Unless your business could not function, unless it couldn't trade during that time, then there was still that opportunity. The vast majority of people that I work with, they're not looking for millions of pounds a year. And so the volume of customers that you're looking for is quite small. There's still that volume out there. It's just looking for it in the right place. So if something has happened with your ideal customer, if there's a distraction going on at the moment, if their priorities are elsewhere, accountants, people doing tax returns and all that sort of stuff, they're probably potentially busier right now than other times of the year. And so is this the best time to get in front of them? Potentially not. And it's all those things that you want to keep in mind. Things can be changing without you being aware of them. The best thing that you can do is to get in contact with your ideal customers and understand that a little bit more, what's going on for them. If you're not consistently posting, it goes without saying that consistently post, consistently put the information out there. If you're not getting the interaction, then what can you do to get that interaction up more on your posts? From a social media point of view, if you aren't getting the interaction on your posts, then people aren't likely to see them. My biggest gripe at the moment with social is the algorithm and it being decided, particularly with groups of people who you are, they're happy to see the information from you. They want to use that information, it is really then frustrating when the algorithm decides what to put in front of them or not. And so you're not in control of the message and who it's getting in front of. If you're not getting very much interaction, it's a little bit like a few years ago where people on their Facebook pages stopped getting the interaction because you stopped getting the reach on them, and they stopped putting them out the messages, the posts out in front of so many people. And so it's around then thinking, okay, what has gone on, what is going on, what's stopping people from interacting with me. Putting out a post which tests that, which is more of an engagement post, can then really help you to see how many people can see it when it actually resonates with them and it's actually of interest to them. Are people have they got fatigue with the same sort of message? Do you need to swap your message around a bit? The question that I would be asking myself is if it's slowed down, why is it slowed down? If it's not the fact it's slowed down, it's just not where you want it to be, then what has worked well, what is working well that you could build upon and do more of? It's very much a trial and error, particularly when you're doing organic, to understand what you need to be doing. If that message isn't resonating, then try a different message. Is it the fact that you've got those people already that appeals to, and without adding more people into your world, you're not going to get any more takers. So these are all things to bear in mind if you are finding that you aren't getting enough inquiries. I'd also sense check your ideal customer. Who is your ideal customer? Are they still your ideal customer? And are you creating content that talks to that person? And the vast majority of the time, it is the fact that people aren't creating content that actually appeals to their ideal customer. And is it what that ideal customer wants to hear? For example, I had a client the other day who specialises in people who are super, super busy. And yet they created, between Christmas and New Year, they created over 20 blog posts for super busy people, and they're all sort of long form blog posts, and they're not easy to sort of read in action. They take time to read like an article. Is that person that motivated on your subject area, or do they just want the outcome that you provide? If that person is really busy right now, how can you get in front of them and make their lives easier with a shortened message, a succinct message? So keep all those bits in mind. Now, next week, as I say, I am going to be talking around, I'm not going to talk it around again, selling on your merits. So not selling at the expense of, around the shortfalls of, because of the shortfalls of your competitor. Not pointing them out and playing on them puts you in I feel it's a more ethical position, but also a stronger position. It doesn't matter what they do then, you're selling off your own merits, not on somebody else's shortcomings. So that is next week's session. So please do join me for that one. In the meantime, guys, I want to say thank you for listening. Please do like us, please do review us. And if you are interested in getting more help with your sales, then please do get in touch. If you are really struggling as far as attracting your ideal customer and getting those inquiries is concerned, then book in and do one of my sales audits. They are free of charge, and they will help you to understand what area of your sales process is most likely letting you down. So there's no need to suffer alone. Take action and let's figure it out. So thanks for listening, guys. Bye for now. Happy selling.